Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Hunkydory Crafts, I have the Moonstone cutting die collection. This is inverted scallop nesting dies, and they are of course circles. And you guys, I made this card using these cute little circle dies, and they have this fantastic little scallop edge. This is our giveaway card for this episode, so if you stick around, you'll learn how one lucky viewer can win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, so let me tell you how I made this card, and then I'll talk to you about how you can win this one. All right, so for my background on the inside of the 5x5 card, I just trimmed some of this beautiful pink paper. This is a brand new collection for us. It's called Watercolored Wildflowers. That's a solid cardstock. I also used the 6x6. It's absolutely beautiful. Paulette has a webisode on this, so definitely check this out. And then you guys, I went ahead and I covered the card front, leaving a little bit of a border with this beautiful yellow floral paper. And once that was glued on, and then I could just open up this 5x5 card like this, and then just set down one of these chosen little scallops. And you'll see it comes with a scallop like this, okay? And then also you have the little like dies that can go in the center, the straight line dies. You can have this little bit larger one. So if you use just this one on your card, it's going to cut out the window, okay? But if you added this one and this one, it cuts out a circle, a straight edge circle with the scallop in the center, and I'll show you some examples of that in a moment. All right, so I used just this one to cut out a window in my card. You'll notice they have little stitched edges around them, which is so cute along the scallops, just adorable. And then once I had this part done, then I just kept the part that I cut out on the inside of the card. And I'm going to set that aside until I ink the edges of the inside of the card. I use my favorite applicator tool, which of course I forgot to grab, but also gingerbread ink. It's just the right amount of a light brown. And you can see all of these items if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page. Just look down below the video and you'll see everything that we used. There'll be links for that. So once I did that, then I went ahead and inked the edges of this piece, foam taped that. Now how I got a perfect fit was I closed the card, put foam tape on the back of that circle, and then just stuck it right to the back so that when I opened it, all the little scallops aligned, okay? So that's important to get this really nice fitted kind of look along the edge. All right, so then you guys, I added the coordinating chipboard, which is so pretty, right here, and I used some tri-blend markers to color my pretty little flowers, and I used coral blend, okay, for the flowers, and then I also used dull green, and that just made these really special flowers. I also added a little yellow, which I forgot to bring as well. That's down below the video. Then added some cute little lime green Jewel Dazzle stickers. You guys, we have a brand new jumbo jewel picker, okay? And it helps pick these up so much easier. It only has one little tacky little sticky end on this one. Our other jewel picker has them on both ends, but this one is really big. And look, you just pop it right down there, and then there we go. It loosens right up, and you can lift those right up, and then you can place them on your card, which just makes it so much easier when you're doing a lot of little Jewel Dazzle stickers, which makes everything so sparkly, cute. So once I did all of that, this is a little cutout from the little greetings, and I just foam taped that right there. And also I should mention, to glue the little chipboard, using a tiny bottle is always nice. This is Cosmic Shimmer glue, and I just filled up the tiny bottles. Or you could use something like the glue press, which is so nice from My Sweet Petunia. It's got that tiny little nozzle, which we love. All right, so this is our giveaway card for this episode, you guys, and how that works is, there we go. How that works is we're promoting our Paper Wishes YouTube channel, and we'd love it if you would hop on over there and subscribe to our channel, like this video with a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And then after about a week, we will reply to one person by saying congratulations, and we'll use their specific YouTube username. All right, so you've got to know your username. That's the name that's left on a comment when you leave on a comment. Okay, so sometimes people have been on YouTube for so long they forget what their YouTube username is. So, and then we give you instructions on how to claim it for that one lucky winner. And we do that every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday video. So you get 3 chances a week to win. It'd be great if you participate in that. Awesome. I will tell you one more thing about this card. So when I used the paper, which goes just like this, so cute, I cut out just like a 4 7/8 inch square and glued that on the card front before I went and put my circle on here and then ran it through my die cutting machine. Then I had this piece left over, all right? And you'll notice here, I only have this one little corner embellishment with flowers. So how did I get this one up here? Well, I cut it out of this one. So let me show you. It's so simple, and you can do this on any one of your favorite papers. And you'll notice I'm not cutting it out like very well. I'm just kind of going around here like this, and then I'm going like this. And you also notice the scissors are staying in one place, and I'm turning the paper. You're just kind of driving the scissors like that. All right, and then you go just out like this, bang. All right. Oh, we're gonna cut this part off too. All right, and then you guys, you just glue that right there. And do you see how it just kind of the edge just kind of disappears? You can see it down here a little bit, but that's just a really nice way to kind of balance out your pattern if you want to. All right, so don't forget, play our giveaway. All right, the next one I have, this one is super fun. This one is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. Let me grab my ruler. Here we go. And I can tell you, I cut away just from the card front flap. I cut away, so this is 6.5 inches, and I cut away 3 inches from card flap. So I just went along the fold, cut that away, and I went ahead and I used some really beautiful papers. It's still spring. June is still spring. So I've got Tulip Parade 12 by 12 patterned cardstock, which is so beautiful. I used one that had a little border on it. Actually, I used, let's see, this one right here. You can see along the top edge, okay? Just turn that over like that. And I glued that right along my card front, along that edge. So fun to use. And then the inside, I use this beautiful little, it's like a cream color with almost like a blue-gray floral print on that. So cute, love it. And then I went ahead and I used my circles here. So for this one, I die cut them from the coordinating solid cardstock right here in this actual blue. All right, and I just took the outer circle that we were talking about and then the scallop, but I used a smaller scallop. So I used this outer circle and then this next size down scallop, and that's how I cut out my circle with the window in it. And then I backed this window with a little bit of this paper, and first of all ink the edges again with the gingerbread, then, so you can see there's gingerbread ink around here, and then the paper that I used to back it with is actually one of these little card topper cutouts. They're quite tall. They're about 5 inches tall. And I just used that to back that because I wanted a smaller print on these little flowers right here. So then I also used our Tulip Parade cutting dies. I love this little bicycle, the little basket that you can put over this basket. And for that, I used this really sweet little metallic silver cardstock. And I went ahead and I just glued that over that. Now the bike, I die cut that from both yellow cardstock and black cardstock. And then I just took some of my tiny scissors again, and I just cut out the wheels, I cut out the handle, the seat, the little pedal, and then I just used my tiny little applicator, and then I just glued the black ones right over the yellow ones. And then I glued the whole thing to this circle. And then for the little basket, I die cut that from silver, and then it has a cute little slit in it, which is so clever. And then I die cut the stems right here, and then all of these tulips, I die cut these both from pink and then from red. And so then I added to the little stems, I did ink the stems with a little bit of khaki ink, kind of tucked that inside of the basket, and then glued the basket and stems to this background paper, just glued it right there. And then with these little things, these little tulips, the red ones I didn't have to add any color to. I just die cut those from red cardstock. And then I glued this one, glued the little one, and then I did foam tape on the big red ones. But on the pink ones, I did add a little bit of color. I just used a little hot pink ink just on the top edge. And then I glued, and then foam tape. And then added a cute little bit of ribbon. Okay, using the 1/8 inch ribbon collection, which I love. Down here, we added Best Wishes using our red Script Greeting Dazzle stickers, which is all 3 of these different sheets of sentiments. They all have different words on them, are all in red, which is so handy. And I just put Best Wishes along the bottom edge. And then, let's see, oh yeah, along the bottom and top edge, these are white jewel border dazzle stickers, and they're so nice. They're white with like a silver edge on them. Just peel those off, put them along the edge. Then I foam taped just the bottom of the circle to the card. When you open it, this piece right here came from the inside of this circle window. Okay, and I went ahead and I glued that right here. Well, I glued the bottom and then foam taped this piece because you can see there's a little bit of difference in height there. This is one of our Tulip Parade die cuts that go with the collection, which is so nice. Add that there. And then this is also one of the die cut, just a border. I wanted to spruce that up a little bit. And I foam taped this and glued this, glued a little bow on there. And then the inside, I added a circle, and then I inked all the edges with the gingerbread and my applicator tool from the cutting dies and the green cardstock. Just added those little green leaves there, and then added another strip here of that border dazzle. So just had fun playing with all the little cutting dies and the die cuts with this. And these adorable little scallop circles, I think they just added so much to add this little piece here. And then, you know, you don't want to waste the inside piece there. This gave me a nice place to like write down because you don't have to compete with that pattern paper. Just make sure you're hiding it directly behind this circle so everything lines up. All right, let's see what else I have. All right, I have a 6x6 card. All right, this one uses 6x6 gnome and more gnomes. I am loving this one with all the little mushrooms, and those gnomes are just the cutest little guys. They, you know, sometimes gnomes can just be, they almost look like trolls. They're not very cute. These are jolly little gnomes. These are elf-like gnomes. They're really cute. So for this one, I took the background paper here, this denim paper, that's from right here. I cut that just slightly smaller, so it's like 5 3/4 of an inch. Inked the edges again with my favorite gingerbread ink and glued that to the card front. And then this one right here, I wanted to die cut, or cut it, use a cutting die, right here on this one. So I cut this gnome square to 5 inches square. So once I had this piece cut to 5 inches, then I went ahead and centered this one on here. It's good to use some low tack tape, and I'll list that in the supplies below. But you could use like washi tape or special low tack tape to, you know, center that and keep it in place when you run it through your die cutting machine. So I wanted to give this sort of a tunnel look. So it's got 1, 2, 3 layers. And I'm going to show you just really the easiest way to do that. So here is a 5-inch square, just cutting this out of solid cardstock to demonstrate. And it's got that cute little stitched edge along there. So that's the first one. And now I want to use the corresponding smaller circle to go in the next layer. I can grab it, my goodness. Here we go. So then cut the next layer to 5 inches square as well. And just put that right behind the first layer. And then take your next graduated nesting die and put it right there. And just center that. And then tape that in place. I like to put my tape so that it extends to the inside part that's getting cut away. Have you ever removed low-tack tape or washi tape from your cutting die pieces and then they get stuck to the paper that you want to use because they've been compressed so hard in your machine? Well, instead of tacking it down on the side you want to keep, tack it down to the circle part you're cutting away. So that's how you would get the next layer, and then you would put in another sheet of paper under that. So let's take this one for example. So this one would go under this one, and then you would do the next size die down, and you would do the next size scallop. And that's how I do that sort of tunnel look. Now you can put foam tape in between each one of the layers and it'll lift it up more, but I just did foam tape on this outer piece. So foam taped this piece to the blue square that's surrounding, and then glued the blue one to the green square, and then backed it with this one right here. This is the piece that cut away from this piece, and I just glued it to the very back. And then, okay, so we've got our 6x6 gnomes and more gnomes. I used the solid color cardstock to get all those great colors. And then I colored the gnomes and more gnomes chipboard. Look at the cute chipboard. They are so sweet. And I used a little, where did it go? I used Prussian blue, which is a really nice deep dark navy blue. I think it's buried somewhere. Oh, here it is. And how I like to do that is you can just remove these from the background, put them on a craft mat, and then just take this off and then just sponge the top of that chipboard if you want all over color like this. Glued that to the center, once again using something with a fine tip applicator. Then put jewel border dazzle stickers along the top and bottom just to add a little sparkle, and then the navy blue gingham right here. And that's how I put together that card. All right, I've got one more for you guys. Here we go. All right, so this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. This one has little tags that I made from the circles. Let's pull all these out. So I took the straight line circles, this one right here, and I just die cut one of these, and I used beautiful Hydrangea Heaven 6 by 6 pattern cardstock. And here's an example of one that I used. So pretty. Look at this one. So I took this paper, for example, and here we go. For this circle right here, I die cut it just like this, keeping those lower square edges intact, those straight edges right here. And then for the next one, I took a different paper and I just made it a little bigger, keeping these square edges or straight edges intact, okay? And then ink the edges with that Prussian blue ink right here, right here. Then I glued this first one down, but only glue it on the edges right here, making a pocket. And then this one right here, same thing. I should mention what I used to cover the whole thing, beautiful striped paper from the Hydrangea Heaven, but it's 6 by 6 paper and 6.5 inch of card. So the top part right up here doesn't have any paper on it. I just used a little bit of that Prussian ink to color the top, and then added a really pretty border from Fancy Border Dazzle stickers. Love these borders. Just lace stickers, how beautiful. Keeps your card nice and lightweight, so you don't have to glue actual lace on it. Just put that along the top edge. And then once I got my pockets done, okay, glued another strip of lace down here. And then this little greeting is from Inside Outside Dazzle stickers. And we call them that because it's so cute. You can add happy birthday to the outside, and then you can add the more candles, the better the wish on the inside. So we try to give you two sentiments that coordinate. So it's something for the outside and something for the inside, or you can just use them on. But they come in all these great colors. I, of course, use the white one, but these all come in one pack. And I love to use these. They're really a great value. All right, so once we have that done, then this one right here is cut from a wreath paper. I forgot to grab it out of here, but it's this one right here. It has this beautiful circle in the center, and I just put this right over that wreath, and it has this beautiful little floral border around it. So this is the inside of the scallop. Inked the edges with that Prussian blue ink. Add the May All Your Wishes Come True, which coordinates with Happy Birthday. And then just used a little piece of white cardstock, folded that over just to make a little tag out of it. Added a little purple ribbon. Okay, and then this just gets tucked right in there. And then this piece, I just made a tag, just a really simple rectangle that was 2 1/4 inches by 3 inches. Cut the shoulders off right here. Inked the edges with Prussian blue. Here's a little cutout from the 6x6 paper pack. Foam taped that on there. Just knotted a little length of the baker's twine that's right there. And then that just gets put right in there. So it's a little interactive birthday card, which I think is fun. You guys, so I think you'll notice that you can get a lot of different kinds of card designs using this fabulous set. So here's all of the different cards. Don't forget, we're giving this one away, so definitely participate in that. And we have a fantastic money saver. It's right there on the right-hand side of your screen if you're watching us on Paper Wishes webisode. Look down below the video and you'll see all of the different supplies that we used, as well as full color pictures of all the cards. And hey, if you're watching us over on YouTube, hello, it would be great if you would subscribe to our channel. It really helps push our videos out and helps people see our small company. And if you're looking for this link to Paper Wishes webisode page, just look below the video in the description box. And thanks for joining me today, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.